Hello, YTPC. Ethan, Parsimonious Piper here. Back today with some more morsels for mental manducation. But first, what am I smoking? One of my lovely little Pipe by Lee Bulldogs, I have got some Mac Baron Symphony. And for those of you who think you don't like Burleys, Symphony might be something to try. Yes, it's Burley based, but it's also got some Virginias and Cavendish in it to lighten and sweeten it up and smooth out the rough edges. It's a softer blend. This is not Haunted Bookshop or Old Joe Krantz. Well, the first theme of today's morsels is going to be deplatforming. For those of you who have not been following along the social media wars over the last few years, deplatforming is when a social media platform basically removes your ability to use their platform. Most recently, the President of the United States, before he left office, was deplatformed by Twitter. They closed his account, locked him out of it. Now, you may feel that this was justified, and we can have that discussion, that debate. It sets a very bad precedent. And when even the ACLU, who was no fan of Trump, and definitely no fan of conservatives in general, is concerned by deplatforming a sitting president of the United States, there's cause for concern there. Now, these platforms, social media platforms, in particular Twitter and Facebook, have been doing this in increasing amounts toward conservatives of all stripes, not just extremists, which is what they would have you believe, for a number of years. What they will do is they will send out a claim that you have violated their terms of agreement, their terms of service, but they won't tell you how. And when you try to ask, what did I do that violated the terms, but basically you get stonewalled. And there have been any number of mainstream conservative voices that have had this happen to them, whether they've been locked out of their accounts, temporarily suspended, shadow banned, etc. And this is the true irony, is that liberals, in particular classic liberals, are very open to debate. In fact, there's nothing that is more honest than a true liberal and a true conservative sitting down and discussing their differences. However, the extremes go for shutting down discussion. And this is what's happening with our social media platforms. The discussion is simply being ended by taking away one side's ability to participate, regardless of whether they have actually violated your terms of service. Now, Twitter made the claim that they suspended the president's account because they were afraid if he was going to incite further violence after the storming of the Capitol. That's a whole nother discussion. But if that's the case, I want to know, why do the leaders of Iran, the world's largest sponsor of terror, still have Twitter accounts? Why do the leaders of and organizers within Black Lives Matter and Antifa, who organized protests that we all saw turn into riots, burning, looting, direct attacks on police officers, the attempted arson of a federal building, why do they still have Twitter accounts? For that matter, our current vice president, even after those protests had clearly devolved into nightly riots, looting, and burning, on her Twitter account said that those protests Those should continue. Those are a necessary statement in our culture. Is that not inciting more of the same? Why does she still have an account? See, the rules are not applied evenly. Now, the social media platforms to this point have gotten away with this by hiding behind federal law that allows them to claim not to be publishers. So they're not responsible for the content that's on their platforms. However, when you begin to editorialize and shut down mainstream voices of the side that you oppose, even when you can't demonstrate that they have violated your terms, then you are no longer a neutral content provider, a neutral platform. You are, in fact, editors. That makes you publishers, which should make you liable for the things that are posted on your platforms. So far, they have not been held accountable. It's not likely that they will be over the next 4 years. Along the same vein, the largest gun website and discussion forum in the world, AR15.com. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of members. This is a very large platform. GoDaddy deplatformed them, took away their ability to host a website. Why? Not because they've actually done anything illegal or incited violence or anything else. They just don't like their position on guns. What's next? Something you actually enjoy? Like a pipe? Couple of good quotes I'll have to read for you. Oh, my first one. I absolutely adore this. New York's Governor Cuomo tweeted this week, "We cannot stay closed until the vaccine hits critical mass. The cost is too high. We will have nothing left to open." Now, where have I heard that before? Here in America, one of our two political parties spent the last 4 years, millions of dollars, trying to discredit the last presidential election as fraudulent, but claim that attempts to investigate the accuracy and legitimacy of this election are subversive. Now, this one should be interesting to see how this plays out moving forward. Just an hour after the new American president was sworn in, the WHO released a statement saying that the PCR testing mechanism method that they've been using for the virus, which can't be named, is likely producing a very large number of false positives. Good timing? Will the numbers start going down as we test more accurately? Who knows? It'll be interesting to see, though. Here's my other quote. During the campaign, Joe Biden claimed that Trump had no plan for dealing with the virus. Here was one of his big quotes. "We're 8 months into this pandemic, and Donald Trump still doesn't have a plan to get this virus under control. I do." Fast forward, January 22nd, just a few days ago, Joe Biden. There is nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months. Which is it? And last, and beautifully ironic, Jeff B., the head of Amazon and owner of the Washington Post, spent much of the last year deriding conservatives, and in particular the previous administration, for its insistence that there were serious security issues with holding a presidential election largely by mail-in ballot. Mail-in votes are secure. Same person has filed a complaint, a petition with the National Labor Relations Board to prevent the employees of an Alabama Amazon warehouse from holding a unionization vote by mail-in ballot. The claim, and I quote, "Concerns about election security run particularly high due to the use of an unreliable electronic signature platform." And there you have it, folks. This is why we don't trust the media. Where was the Washington Post story on Amazon not trusting electronic ballots? Wasn't front page. With that, folks, like something you like. Enjoy the afternoon.